Basically, what we are saying, how to figure out as to how my company has done vis-a-vis, or how is my company's performance. I have calculated the gross profit ratio, I have calculated the EBITDA margin ratio, I have calculated the net profit ratio, but now I need to find out कि मेरी कंपनी का परफॉर्मेंस है कैसा, how am I doing. So how do I figure it out? Now for that, friends, what you can do and what you should do is very simple. Number one, you look at the gross profit ratio or EBITDA margin ratio or the net profit ratio of your competitors. So if the gross profit of your company is 10% and the gross profit of your competitor is 15%, that means what? That means your company is not doing well as your competitors are doing. That means there is a lot more catching that you need to do in your company. Secondly, what you can do, you can compare your gross profit or your EBITDA margin ratio or your net profit ratio. As a matter of fact, all the ratios that I'm going to discuss with you, this is how you will make sense out of them. So all the ratios that I'm just discussing with you now, and I'm going to discuss with you as we move forward, how will you make sense out of them? You will make sense out of those ratios by comparing your number with your competitor. Number two, you can compare your number with the industry that you are in. So please remember, all the industry associations, what do? They compile the industry norms. तो पूरी इंडस्ट्री का, ऑटो इंडस्ट्री है, टेलीकॉम इंडस्ट्री है, आईटी इंडस्ट्री है, इंफ्रा इंडस्ट्री है, एफएमसी इंडस्ट्री है. सो ये इनकी जो एसोसिएशंस हैं, all those associations, what do? All those associations, they compile the industry norms. So what you can also do, you can compare your number with the industry and figure it out. So if your gross profit ratio is more than the industry gross profit, that means your company is doing well. But if your gross profit ratio is lesser than the amount, the gross profit of the industry that you are in, that means your company is not doing well. Third thing, what you can do to find out as to how are you doing, you can compare your numbers with your previous year's figures. So let's say you are looking at the current ratio, or you're looking at the debt equity ratio, or you're looking at the return on capital employed, or you're looking at the return on equity, or you're looking at earning per share. Any number that you're looking at, how to find out as to how have I done as a company. Compare your ratios with your last year's number, and that will give you an idea as to how your company has done in the current year in comparison to the last year. It will give you an idea as to how are you doing. So let's say, for example, the gross profit ratio of your company this year is coming 20%, and the gross profit ratio of your company last year was 17%. Do I have to tell you that it means what? It means your company has done well, isn't it? Because last year your gross profit ratio was 17%. This year your gross profit ratio is 20%. That means you have done well. So that is the third thing that you can do. Number four, what you can do to figure out as to how your company is doing is to compare your actual numbers with your budgeted number. Please remember, all the companies that you would join as employee, or most of the companies that you would join as practicing professional, all of them would be having a practice of presenting annual budget to the board of directors of the company. So what you can do, you can compare your actual numbers of the current year with the budgeted figure, and that will give you an idea as to how your company is doing in terms of performance when you compare your number with your budget. So for example, your budgeted net profit was 12%. Your actual net profit is coming to 10%. That means what? That means your performance is lagging behind in comparison to the budget that you have prepared for your company. And that means what? That means this is how the top management will start tightening the belts, and this is how they will start controlling the operations. This is how they would start telling the salespeople, or the production people, or the material people, or the finance people, to reduce the cost, to increase the sales, to increase the profit, so that the company is able to achieve the targeted net profit. And remember, if the targeted net profit is not achieved, by default, the earning per share of this company will go down. And if the earning per share of this company will go down, by default, the market price of the company on the stock market also will come down. And when the market price of the company share on the stock market will come down, the wealth of the shareholders also will go down. And if the wealth of the shareholders will go down, they will make noise, they will shout, and they will fire and to the top management, insist on them to improve the performance of the business. And please remember, this is how the numbers are used for the purpose of controlling the operations.